Good morning, everyone. As you know, I'm Jing, the Candid Filipina, and our topic for today is about are foreigners ruining things for themselves in the Philippines. Foreigners are visiting the Philippines and have been doing so for many, many years. We all know 15 years ago, just before social media and the internet got a foothold in the Philippines, things were a lot simpler then. There were not so many tourist resources here. There were not so many foreigners here. And the culture was still in the traditional form, which at that time was about 20 years behind the Western world in general. Indigenous people here were accustomed to a harder life, and they were more in tune with family traditions, closeness, and ties, oblivious in general to the Western world. However, as the years passed by, the influx of foreigners significantly increased, and although the economy was slowly gaining ground and the infrastructure was improving, the increase of foreigners was starting to drive the price upward. I'll break this down for you. Most Filipinos do not tip at restaurants, for example, or for the transport, but foreigners do because in your own country, this is normal, and the prices of accommodation have certainly been driven up in the last 10 years by foreigners. And here is the current 2025 breakdown of salaries in the Philippines. Looking at the current monthly salaries, as you can see, the majority of Filipinos could not afford to rent accommodation for more than 10 to 12,000 pesos per month. But with the increase of condos and rentals for foreigners, this increased or has increased on average to between 15 to 35,000 pesos and above. I'll give you an example. A foreigner went to see a three-bedroom house that was advertised in a marketplace for 12,000 pesos. But as soon as they saw the foreigner, the price magically raised to 17,000 pesos. Now, the owner of the property had two identical properties next to each other. They were both unfurnished, but the foreigner moved into one of them and paid 17,000 pesos monthly. The other identical property, which was vacant, my Filipino friend and her foreigner boyfriend were interested in. The identical property, which again was advertised for 12,000 pesos. However, on this viewing of the property, my Filipino friend went along and magically got the price reduced from 12,000 to 10,000 pesos. Whereas the foreigner next door, an identical house, was now paying 7,000 and more due to the white skin tax. And this is now happening more and more frequently. Not just the rentals, but with taxes, market shopping, and everything else in general. And it's not due to supply and demand, as there is plenty of food here and also vacant properties are in abundance and half-full condos also. And as you saw earlier, the monthly salary of Filipinos as 2025 is far less than the monthly salary of Western men. As you can see, when the foreigners come here or has long-term relationship or LDR and start sending his Filipina girlfriend 15 to 20,000 pesos a month and 5,000 pesos to support her parents. Remember this, you are now sending 2 times the average monthly salary for Filipina, who is either not working or is in a minimum wage job. The foreigner realistically should be sending or giving maximum of 4,000 pesos a month. In my opinion, unfortunately, more and more foreigners are falling into this trap of sending large amount of money. This, of course, will have the terminal effect in a twofold way. Filipinos are now less declined and having an LDR with a foreigner that is 60 plus that will be able to move to the Philippines to be with his girlfriends in a couple of years. And then even see for herself the price here in person. She's now started to opt in for a foreigner in his 40s, but is still working in general. Will be unable to retire here for at least another 10 to 15 years, which means the foreigner will be supporting and sending her money for such longer period of time as he's still working, and generally will only be able to visit here for about 2 months every year. Bear this in mind, over 50% of Filipinos are poor. When a foreigner starts supporting the relationship, sadly, over this longer period of time, the relationship will revolve around money, as life here in general for Filipinos revolves around money. That is the number one priority here, money. It quickly becomes an addiction, and more money will be expected over a period of time for fictional problems that will arise. The frequently I myself, who is a Filipina, well, I was the last time I looked in the mirror. I've learned never to lend money because whenever you lend, you will never get paid back. You will end up chasing that money for months. And usually excuses will be next week. Next week again. I'm not just saying that as currently this is the minority, not the majority. But now with the social media and friends of Filipinas who are bragging to their friends that they have a rich foreigner, this is now on the increase because nowadays people in the Philippines have this misconceptions that all foreigners are rich. I'll give you another example. I live in a poor squatter area, and when it's a birthday for the children or the parents or the siblings, they have a little to nothing in the way of small gift or even a cake. And if they were lucky enough to be both a gift, it would be something for 200 pesos or less. And the cake would be a small cupcake or a pancake. That's it for their birthdays. And that's a fact. How do I know? I experience that and I see it every year, every day. They just cannot afford it. So when a foreigner walks in and takes the whole family out for a fancy meal at a nice big restaurant and a gift for the birthday person, that costs about 10K and a big cake with the candles, the size of the telegraph poles in it. What do you think they were gonna think? They were gonna think rich foreigner. Can you blame them? It's open wallet time again. Until you grow a set of wings and head upwards. All I'm trying to say is think on when you come here. Think Filipino and think Filipino salary. Switch on to that mindset and send a smaller amount. Give a smaller amount, for example. Think what you would like to give, half it. Then have it again and they will still be happy. As I said, set your standards. Set your president. Think like that. But the mindset and expectations are growing. Thank you for your open wallet syndrome that many foreigners are displaying. I hope you take something away from this video, and I hope you learn something. I'm giving this video so that it benefits you, the foreigner, when you come and visit the Philippines. Stay healthy, be happy. Bye for now, until next time. You're always the Candid Filipina Jing.